What's up, Monarch Monstars? It's your boy Trey the Bachelor. If you're wondering why I'm chuckling like as the show just started, you want to know how you have a really, really good co-host? When you forget to turn on your microphone right before the countdown ends. And I was like, I remembered this time, but he was expecting me because I always forget it to turn me on. So I turn myself on, he turns me off, thinking he's turning me on. That sounded wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in the best co-host I could ever ask for. Super Bro Corey, how you doing?
Wow. Yeah, that did come off wrong, Trey. Yeah, no, I was expecting you to forget. So I, yeah. And then I immediately saw that you did it. So I like tried to click it again. And I think you may have clicked it as well.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth.
You literally just see both of us like laughing as the show's about to start. Like, oh my god! Yeah, hey, live, we'll do it live. Oh my gosh, guys! I hope everyone is doing well out there. It's just gonna be Super Bro Corey and I today. Everyone else is either not feeling well or is busy or hasn't seen the episode yet, so they need to get on it because this was a very interesting episode. If you hung out with us at our watch party that we did just a couple of days, I was on our Arizona trip, but we're back now. First off, I gotta give a shout out to the newlyweds, the Roberts. Congratulations, guys. It was wonderful to spend the day with you and the family. And I wish you guys the absolute best. Michelle looked absolutely gorgeous. Connor, you looked good too, but it's all about the bride. So love you guys. Have safe travels on your Hawaii trip. Maybe stop by some of the Godzilla sets. You know, they still have the footprint from the 1998. So I don't know if you're into
Hawaii.
On Hawaii. Connor did enjoy Godzilla -1 with me, so you know that's a good groom right there. You know, he knows what's up to get away a little bit to go see Godzilla and then get in. Corey, who's all in the chat today?
Man, we got people filing in left and right, buddy. We got Cashew Crazy Craig rolling in the house. Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse Guy. Hey. Dean Classified Monarch Eyes Only. Wayne Enterprises. King Donkey Kong. King Donkey Kong also says, have you seen the new images, TBC? The Frost time, yeah. The Frost market. He said that Frost time was dope.
Or are you talking about the new images for Godzilla X Kong?
Oh, that's a good point. He says, hi peeps from Nine Lives in Hell here. Oracle's Clock Tower. What's up, Oracle? Beyond the Night in the What's house. Up, the Butler, Trevor H, Carrie Kelly, Joker's Wild, Red Hooded Outlaw. We have Gianmarco Zampella.
Gianmarco, my man. It's good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well, dude. I think, did Godzilla -1 come out for you yet? And because you're in Germany, right? Or Italy? I can't recall. Germany or Italy. I know it's in Europe. I do know that. King Donkey Kong says Godzilla X Kong. I have seen a lot of promotional images. I'm surprised that it got leaked anyway, so the world kind of knew about it. And generally a lot of what people in Hollywood say, if something got leaked, it's usually on purpose. They say it got leaked as but the fact that they had a T-shirt ready to go and they're promoting it as well, and they're not hiding behind it. Tells me it was probably planned leak. It looks like our boy G-Man is gonna evolve. We might make a video on it. We might talk about it, Corey. Especially with the trailer coming out today at CCXP, which has been fired with Rebel Moon. Apparently a new trailer to the Halo Season 2 series came out that Corey and I will be reacting to later in the day. It's as soon as we got home late last night driving a 14-hour day, and I think it was like 1 o'clock by the time we were able to, we got back to the house and in bed to, get some rest. So I am still a little bit tired, but that's not going to slow me down from all the craziness that's going on today, especially with all the Godzilla content. But I have seen it. King Donkey Kong looks interesting. I'm curious to see they're bringing a little Godzilla 2000. It's nothing we haven't seen before with the red. But yeah, we might talk about that for another video.
In that standpoint.
Let's see. Jan Marcus says, Italy, I watched -1 yesterday. You liked my review on Instagram, and I'm rewatching it tomorrow, baby. Can't stop saying it. What a movie. That's right. Okay. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen so many people like posting about Godzilla -1. That's all becoming a blur. The theme that I have seen is everyone is saying it's one of the greatest Godzilla films of all time. And I agree. And apparently the US agrees, because Corey, it got $11 million domestically and only was released in 2,100 theaters.
Wow.
So
dude.
that's almost like, that's a little less than half of the theaters in America. So think about that.
That's amazing.
You know,
I'm still so upset I haven't seen it yet.
You got to get on it, buddy. You got to get on it.
Yeah,
I know for some people,
Friday, and then things got crazy, and then Saturday ended up being a lot busy, and I'm hoping to see it tonight.
Do it. Guys, if you haven't seen Godzilla -1, I do have like a quick out of theater reaction video that you can watch if you just want, like, bam, this is my opinion, no spoilers in it. It's just me kind of giving my brief, this is what I just saw, and should you see it or not? I probably will make a non-spoiler, a little more in depth, talking about certain things I did like without giving it away. And then we'll do a full-on review and discussion with our Monarch Monstars panel once everyone has had a chance to see it. So if you haven't yet, and for the general audience, like I had said earlier on our watch party this last week, I invited, it turned in more of a, everyone just heard I was going to a Godzilla movie and everyone wanted to jump in on it. And the question I always had to ask people is, do you know it's in Japanese and it has English subtitles? It's not English dubbed. And a few of the younger members in our group that went to go see it weren't quite prepared for that, and they still even enjoyed it. So I think it's a movie that the general audience, I heard, Corey, that they're going to be putting it up for Oscar nominations. They're actually going to go for it.
Godzilla, have they ever won an Oscar nomination?
I don't think they have. I mean, they probably have won for like virtual effects or maybe even sound design, but I don't know if a Godzilla film has ever won in the Oscars. But they're actually putting it up for Best Actor, which I'm not going to give it away, but if you haven't seen it, completely 100 billion% agree on the Best Actor thing. I think he should be nominated, though, for Best Director and Best Foreign Film. And I mean, you could go down the list of all the things it should be nominated for. It's easily one of the best films of 2023. Just saying it. Yeah. What's up, brother? TJ saying, Trey, I have better images of Godzilla, and those images proves my theory right about Godzilla mutating every time he gets exposed to radiation. Yeah, and you know what? That's partly what makes, I mean, G-Man is on a whole nother level that I think, just with comes to Kong. Kong is aging, he's becoming wiser and smarter, which helps him out. But the thing that Godzilla has going for him in the MONSTERVERSE, just in terms of continuing his status as king of the monster, like he just never stops evolving. He's absolutely incredible. It's insane. I'm excited to see how they explain it, because when they did the whole Godzilla's in ice, that immediately took me back to, I think, was that King Kong versus Godzilla, the original one in the 60s? I think so. When Godzilla bursts out of an iceberg. It's cool. I like it, but I also wondered if maybe Godzilla got frozen by something. I wonder. Who knows? And he just, as he's sleeping, and I don't know, maybe just is gaining strength. I don't know. Whatever they do, it looks good. It looks like it's gonna be a good movie. I mean, -1 deserves awards on awards. I was shocked by the movie. Yeah. Everyone's raving about it. What a great time, right, to be a Godzilla fan. It's absolutely insane. But today, but we'll hold off all of our Godzilla -1 talking because I could spend hours talking about that movie. We're going to talk about the latest episode of Monarch, episode 4, Parallels and Interiors. We're going to break it down a little bit. We're going to talk about some theories again, because definitely some things happened in this episode that it felt like it was a little bit of a filler episode, to kind of build on our characters a little bit and their relationships and their dynamics between each others and their past, rather than like truly furthering the plot. But there was a few things that happened that I think I know why they had this episode, because they didn't quite want to let it on yet. They didn't want to like fully like come out, because I think if you focus too much on the future of like where these characters are going, they're gonna have to reveal a little too much, and I don't think they want to show their eggs in the basket yet, how many they got. And it's cool. I dig it. I like it. I loved that Kong. What's up? First off, Marco Bicar, is this your first time hanging out with us? I don't recall seeing you, but dude, welcome to Monarch Monstars. Hope you're doing well. And loving the comment saying, I love that Kong is transforming more into Adam Wingard by each movie, getting more hairy and hairier. Yeah, and eventually he'll grow that giant beard. Kong is looking dope though. He's looking older though too, which has me wondering why he's getting older so quickly. And granted, we don't know how the Titans age, but Godzilla is clearly much, 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 much older than Kong, and I don't know, it just makes me wonder if the Kong species just doesn't live as long. I don't know. We'll find out. I guess we'll see more when we get the trailer today. It'll be a good time though. I'm excited. Corey, general thoughts, good sir. Like, what is your general thoughts so far about Monarch episode 4 before we completely deep dive into it?
Yeah, man. I enjoyed it. It did feel a little bit like a filler, like you said, but there's some interesting things that we kind of talked about when we watched it. So I'm very interested to kind of deep dive into those kind of thoughts and theories a little bit more today, buddy.
I agree, dude. They definitely led on to something, but guys, let's go through the pleasantries real quick. It's wonderful to see you all in the chat as we break this episode down and kind of reveal some of the details that we noticed that you may have missed. But go ahead, follow us on our social media pages like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads if you're on there as well, at _Bat channel. We've been posting a ton of Godzilla content lately on Instagram, so Instagram is a great way to like get in touch with us, see what's going on. We also do fun, like when I was, in the car as my wife was driving to Arizona, I was doing a little bit of like, hey, like, what's your thoughts, questions, guys? Like, ask me anything. And it was just a great way to like connect with some of our viewers, which was awesome. I really enjoyed that. But we also posted a little bit of different stuff. So definitely follow us on our social media pages. And if you want to help us out even more, guys, our end of the year goal was to reach 3,000 subs. And we are so flipping close. We're at 2,700. And we've done it before. It's going to be tough to reach another 300 subs before the end of the year. But one of our biggest videos of all time, the Godzilla X Kong title trailer reaction, that blew up our channel pretty big. So Godzilla fans, I know we can do it again. Somehow you guys always pull through, which is crazy. I don't know how you guys do it, but we can't do it without you. So help us out by smashing that like, sharing this video, subscribing if you haven't already, and replay crew, comment all the way through the video and we'll respond. Like, I would love to hear your thoughts as we're throwing things down, mentioning these details and some of our Easter eggs and theories. I'd love to get your guys' takes as we go through it all. But Corey, I say one more video that we got to talk about, guys. If you haven't seen our theory about Shaw, you need to. There was so many hints in episode 3 that they cannot, like, no one's talking about. I'm still surprised no one's talking about it. And it's like they're totally leading on to something. Like there was one person, it may have been Dangerville, who even kind of like mentioned, like, I'm not sure where they're going with this. there's absolutely something going on there. And this particular episode kind of peeled back some curtains for Shaw, I think, that we'll talk about in a little bit, because I think he revealed a little bit of his true nature in this one. But definitely check out our Shaw's age explanation of what we think is going on there, a little theory that we have. I don't think you guys will be disappointed with what we have going on there. And I would love to hear you guys' takes. It's crazy, it's mind-blowing, and I just want to get as many people to talk about it just to see what other people think about that, if they noticed it, because there just has to be something there. It seems too weird, too weird. So definitely check out that video at a later time. But guys, let's go ahead and get into episode 4 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, Parallels and Interiors. Now, this episode, I gotta say, I felt like, Corey, maybe you'll agree, I think it was the weirdest one yet. Like, it felt the most different from the other three.
Yes.
Yeah, you're thinking the same?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It was, I don't know how to explain it. It was a different, maybe because, I don't know. There was so much traveling going on in the first few, like, major traveling and flashbacks and everything like that. I don't know, man. Yeah, you're right though. Something felt a little bit kind of different, didn't it?
Yeah, they definitely used, in my opinion, something that is kind of like a common like story trope that they use to kind of flesh out our characters a little more. And that's anytime your character goes through hallucinations, anytime they throw that into the story, it immediately tells me that they're like what they're about to do with this, and they kind of followed the same path that most of these shows do when our characters kind of go through that type of hallucinating journey. It's just a common storytelling tool that, to me, it was at that time where I was saying like, okay, I've seen this before, but that didn't mean it was bad. It had some good elements to it and had some good layers. I could see where this episode may be the most kind of people either really liked it or really didn't like it. But nonetheless, I felt like in the long run, because Corey and I always say, when it comes to these shows, it's hard to grade one episode by itself until you see how important it is to the overlying story in the entire series of the season 1. So I feel like this may be an episode that people may enjoy a little more after the season 1 is finished, and we'll see where it fits into that storytelling, if it was important or not. But it kind of, first off, Corey, it was the first time we didn't get any of our legacy cast.
Yeah, that was, that kind of made me a little sad, a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. The legacy cast, with the young Wyatt Russell playing Lee Shaw and Bill Randa, and Dr. Randa, like, it's been to not have them, that's been my favorite portion, just seeing the origins of Monarch, that their presence was missed this round. But they fleshed out a little more our current cast, with the trio that we got going on. Marco says, yes, I love your channel, and I recently found out how to type in the stream, and it makes live streams a lot funnier, and my phone made it so I could respond on streams. My Kindle could not do that. You were watching? I didn't even know Kindle could watch YouTube. Dude, congrats. That's awesome. That's glad to have you here, man. It's always cool to hear like where people find us and stuff, like, and let us know where you're from. Like are you US based? Are you different country? Like, we always love to know, like, as you can see with Gianmarco, he's from Italy. We've had people from Japan, even India recently. It's crazy to see how big our community is getting. So we love to like find out and just, welcome you to the group, man. Welcome to the battalion. But good to see you here. You also say, I think the episode was fun. Not my favorite, though. I love the Frostvark. Oh, bro. The Frostvark was so cool. So cool. One of the coolest Titans to come from legendary so far in the whole Monarch universe. Yeah, I'm digging it. Pennsylvania. Okay, cool. Very cool, Marco. Sweet, man. Well, welcome, my man. Good to have a fellow American here enjoying all the good content with us about Godzilla, especially this Monarch show. But Corey, they start us with a Monarch outpost, and I kind of dug just this opening scene of how, like, you can tell, like, Monarch was like very, maybe you could say disorganized in a way, and like they're just not. There's so much going on that it's tough for this entire secret organization to kind of keep track of each other. So the fact that they had this Monarch outpost number 42 out in the middle of Utah, and she's like, "It's me. Like, do you not know who I am?" And they're like, "Sure. What do you want?"
And like, it also kind of made me think too, like, in this budget, the open check, or blank check, and she's in a trailer,
Well, they do kind of mention in Kong Skull Island, which was what, 73, Corey, 71, early 70s, right? That Monarch's funding was starting to slip. They were having to start begging for money because who knows, maybe Bill Randa and his wife at that time were able to kind of protect some of the Titans to study them, that the US government wasn't hearing about them. So they're like, what's the point of keeping you guys? We took out the big boy, and now, there's nothing. We haven't seen anything from you since then. So I don't know. We'll see. But Gianmarco, that is so funny that you brought that up, because I literally said that to my wife as we watched it this morning. I was like, it's very Tremors. It just had that feeling with the scientist girl, the like college student that was out, tracking all the data that was going across the desert. But they're getting radiation readings that are matching stuff that happened on G-Day. And it gets very interesting from there, because you can tell whatever's going on in Alaska, where all these readings are coming from, that, something is happening that we haven't quite been revealed yet. It could be the reason that Hiroshi was there searching for something. It does get revealed a little bit of what that is and what's coming from that. And I think we know what's going on there. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But they immediately take us back to our characters in Alaska who are just getting attacked by the Frostvark. Corey, the Frostvark, man. That thing is insane. I love its design, how it's like kind of like this mutated mole thing with I think they call it the star mole, the star face mole, kind of the base of the design, with it's kind of like tentacles that are kind of on its snout. I just dig the character, and the fact that it's like searching for thermal energy, to stay warm or something. And that's like what it craves. It's what it detects.
I'm glad I called that too in our watch.
I think
party.
You did. Yeah, I think you did call that.
He's taking the heat source, not necessarily freezing them. So
yeah, which is such a cool concept. And I remember when you said that, I was like, that makes complete sense. And it makes this Titan like even more intriguing. And in a way, it's kind of, King of the Monsters really kind of focus on this with Michael Dougherty's film, how the Titans have certain impacts on the environment, whether it's good or bad. And you can kind of see that this creature, maybe in terms of how it could help the ecosystem, is like keep the polar ice caps from melting, right? Like, it's tracking down heat sources and draining it, essentially. So kind of cool that they're still keeping up with that kind of concept with the Titans, of how some of them really have the ability to help the environment. I'm curious. I mean, this will probably be, unfortunately, the last time we see the Frostvark for a while, at least. But I just thought it was an insanely cool Titan. And the fact that it's just ripping apart the plane. You see the details that it was getting the jet fuel, the thing that's, really radiating heat. But as their cast, and even Kentaro, he's trying to figure out a way to save, the group from this crazy Titan. So he uses a flare gun, and that kind of gave us our first instance that this thing is attracted to heat. But the flare gun only lasts so long, so they need to get away, and they find themselves a cave where this is kind of what like pushes the story into a direction, a little bit of the motivation behind it. But our character May falls into thin ice that has water in it. Of course, she's freezing and is now battling hypothermia, which we know can cause hallucinations. So the group goes through a bit of this journey of, trust. I guess you could say this was really an episode about trust with their cast, because when you think about it, like, yes, we've seen them for 4 episodes now, that they really have. I mean, some of them were thrown in together. They find out there's a secret family, and now here they're on this insane journey being chased by Monarch, following this weird old guy that knew their dad, who that's really all they know, is that somehow he knew his dad and he was a part of Monarch at some point. And now they're searching, they're stranded in Alaska and they're trying to get warm. So it's a lot about trust. It's a lot about the past and like how it has motivated them become the people who they are. And it's a very interesting way of how they told that through the hallucinations with them getting hypothermia between May, because of course in the last episode 3, we know that Kentaro, he saw something on the plane. He saw a shining light and he was like, we need to go to that because that could be something. And Shaw, who's very much a survivalist, is like, we got to head northwest. We got to find people so we can get warm and get out of here, and find our next step. And it's what separates our cast a little bit. Kentaro's headstrong and he's going to believe in his heart and he's going to go for what he's trying to find, while the others try to head northwest to see, and they see a shining light off in the distance that they're going to head towards. Corey, what did you think about Shaw kind of letting Kentaro go? He knows the dangers of the Titans. He knows what's lost. I mean, he's seen loss on these missions. Why do you think he was so willing to be like, go, do your thing?
Yeah, it was kind of uncharacteristic for what we had seen thus far of Shaw's character. It was interesting, like he was like, he's basically my only family, and here you're letting his son just go off on his own to potentially his death if he doesn't find what he thought he saw. So it was the first kind of pickup trade that was like, that's a little interesting how easily he let him go,
Yeah, little subtle details were starting to happen with Shaw. Like I was telling my wife this, is like when an actor chooses to overreact, and I don't mean overreact as in bad acting, but when they choose to give a reaction to something, to tip their hat to what they're seeing, there's a reason behind it. They know the character, they know the direction it's heading, and there's intention behind it. And Shaw was the character that really he reacted so much to a certain thing, just like he did kind of in episode 3, where a question kept coming up about his age. And I don't think it was used as a comedic joke, just to say Kurt Russell's a good looking dude, which he is, he is. But the fact that they kept bringing it up and him having a bit of a secret, like shrugging it off, like, don't even worry about it. Like, don't ask more questions, essentially. And then you get this where he's starting to have the frustrations of, right? Clearly he wants to get to something. He wants to find something. It is Hiroshi, but May has also kind of caught on that he's after something that maybe he hasn't revealed to everyone. Like her laptop that has all of the files from Bill Randa on it, and Hiroshi. And, she's kind of like holding on to it. Like, nope, I got it. There's subtle details that were happening there, that there's something going on between our characters, that Shaw might not be the person that we're expecting him, just because we're seeing the legacy aspect of him with Wyatt Russell's portrayal doesn't mean that's what continued after the years when Bill Randa disappeared on Skull Island and, he met his end. there was still 50 years later that we haven't seen what what Lee Shaw has been up to as he's gotten older. But Kaiju Crazy says, yeah, he kind of showed that he really didn't care about the kids. Yeah, he had those moments, right? He had those certain things that he did that was just like, we either burn all of your father's files and we might not be able to find out where he went, or we can warm her up and she might live. And you could say, well, Trey, that's his military aspect. He's a survivalist first. But in episode 2, Corey, it kind of seemed like he cared. Like he was, like, I'll help you guys out here. We got to get to find your father.
Well, if you notice, they May questioned him. She put him on the spot. She grilled him a little bit. Like, what's your skin in the fight? What's so important to you? Like, what is this about for you? And he really sold it on family. And then for it to be a complete 180 in this episode, it was like, huh.
Yeah, it definitely, and it could be because out of all of them, the one who is the most least trusting, right, is May. She's always been kind of the wary character, and it could be she's definitely hinted that there's something with her past that has forced her, in my opinion, to run from her home. She has had to abandon her home. It could have something to do with information she has hacked and pissed off the wrong people. So now she's on the run and can't get back. Kind of like, I look at it, it's like kind of a similar story to Inception, where Leonardo DiCaprio's character can't get back to his kids. So now he's kind of on the run. But as we find out, the character that she could have potentially been on the phone with in the previous episode may have been her sister. Corey, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, I was reading a comment. We
learned that one of the people that she's been talking to, kind of telling like, no, I can't come home yet. Like, I'm traveling.
Yeah, the person she's been on the phone with.
Yeah. Do you think that was the same person that she was on the phone with on the boat?
I'm not sure. She's still. They keep hinting at something with that relationship with whoever she's talking to on the phone, but I'm not quite sure where she is with the things. I noticed what TJ just said here. It's an interesting thought. I think her sister is in the army working for Monarch, working with Monarch.
Ooh,
because we did, which is interesting because we did kind of what was it? Was it one of us? It was one episode where we said maybe May is working for Monarch, kind of, or like a different division of Monarch, on the side, undercover type thing, trying to get some of those files from.
We also wondered if like maybe she was in contact with Hiroshi already and she kind of knew of, and maybe not so much that she knew it was Hiroshi, but Hiroshi like contacting someone on the internet who he knew was capable of breaking down some of the information of it for sure. Yeah. And of course, our good friend Batan coming in hot with a $2 super chat with snake emojis. Batan, I should have never posted that on Instagram. See a way we connect with our audience. Someone asked me, I think Batan knows I'm frightened of snakes. But asked me a question if I would be willing to, to get certain type of content that I really enjoy, like with DC, would I jump into a pool of snakes then? And probably I would. And I should have never told Batan that because now he won't stop. Won't stop with the snakes. Great. Can you play Batan a little something?
Thanks, Batan. This one's for you, buddy.
Little Godzilla smiling, chuckling, which I think that works for you, Batam. May is definitely hiding something still. I don't think it was simply her sister. There's something. I mean, just the simple fact that she was downloading all that information, you could say it was just curiosity kills the cat, but even before that, we kind of learned from Kintaro and May that they have a relationship that eventually fell apart because she was so secretive, that because she was getting into something that he couldn't be a part of at one point. And I will say, even though the hallucinations, when they go their different paths, obviously May is dealing with hypothermia, and so is Kentaro, because he's all by himself, headstrong, searching for this thing that he swears he saw, right? And they're both dealing with these now hallucinations. And I personally, like I said, while it's a common character storytelling tool that people use in series, I thought imagery wise, Corey, it was one of the coolest ways to explain who these characters are, especially with Kentaro, using his art and his computer design skills of how different faces and masks, and how his art show, being called Parallels and Interiors, right, is used, quote unquote, to challenge the viewer about the assumptions about identity. What do you think that's clearly a metaphor for something, Corey? What do you think for this story in particular? What do you think that leads to with this?
Oh man. I'm not entirely sure, Trey. It's there's I think the portion that I realized when I was seeing this portion is they're definitely connected, Trey, Kentaro and May. And it was, it was interesting. Yes, they were hallucinating and everything like that, but one of the things that Shaw said was that that species, that Frostmark, could be changing everything that's going around in the environment and everything like that. So they were running around in circles. So I wonder if they were, somehow actually truly connected. They were both kind of hallucinating the same thing at the same time, it seemed like to me. And that's kind of where the parallels of things were actually taking place, that they were kind of reliving, rehashing out some things together as well. That's a very good observation, Trey. It's not something that I had previously thought about.
And I think, you bring up a good point. He does mention that about the Frostvark. My only reason why I think the Frostvark wasn't the one that was changing how they see things. Here's my thing. I'll kind of skip a little bit of what happens in the episode when Shaw, and I'll be brief about it because I don't want to dive too deeply on it. When the Frostvark, when they're on top of that mountain and they decide to go their separate ways, right? Because Kentaro wants to go find the thing that he saw when he was on the plane, and Shaw wants to head northwest because that's where they're most likely going to see people. But what really kicks off Shaw to head in the direction that he does is seeing that light, which when he sees what the light is coming from, he gives a reaction to it, Corey. And in my opinion, that reaction was a reaction of something he has seen before, and he thought he would maybe never see again. He kind of just looks at it, and I get the sense that he knew what it was. We'll hold on to that thought now. So what did he just say that to kind of cover his tracks a little bit? He saw the thing that maybe was some of the answers he was looking for himself, that when they got back, it was kind of just like, well, okay, how do I cover it? How do I not say like, oh, well, this is what I thought I saw, and here it is. Now we're back at the tent. I get the sense, and it could be the Frostvark. It very well could be, but I get the sense that if they were all experiencing some type of effect from the Frostvark, we would have seen how each character was dealing with the symptoms of that. You know what I'm saying?
I have a question about that, because he said that he blamed it on the Frostvark.
Yeah.
Has any other kaijus or anything in the MonsterVerse ever changed reality? to people what's going around, meaning like hallucinations, connections, anything along those lines, Trey?
I don't think we have. Yeah, I don't think we have seen anything like that yet.
Because maybe he was once again using, that excuse to be like, okay, we're going to try to find this, these lights coming from the ground type thing, and he, just kind of going all over the place where, he's seeing those lights.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting thought for sure, Corey. But I did like kind of fleshing out, even though learning about their past wasn't quite, to me, it helps explains the characters of why they are the way they are, and hopefully gives them a bit of character arc to explain how this journey is affecting them and some of their revelations that they're coming through. Clearly in this, he's a very imaginary, creative person with his artwork, but it's revealing something about himself, that because an image of his father appears on one of the assumptions about identity, right? And it's where he first meets May, who's clearly a very important person in his life. And something happened between them, which is kind of showing how they went from this place of love and kind of attraction to each other to now they've both have hurt each other in some way. She clearly has lost the trust in him, and he's trying to make up for it, right? He's trying to, in a way, maybe win her back because he still cares. And feels some sort of guilt of what happened between them, but nonetheless, their whole arc through it about him kind of not wanting to be a part of what's expected of him, right? The being at his art show on time, trying to make an impression for his first gig, and he's kind of just infatuated with this girl May, who's quite secretive throughout. She has him delete the picture, right, which tells us she does not want anyone to know where she's at or find her, which I don't know, Corey, that tells me she's running, she's running from something.
Yeah.
And I loved what I think Koj said this on our watch party. Once again, the imageries that we saw in the first episode with the yin and yang between Kentaro and Kate, to now we have Kentaro and May, where on her side, during that one, Corey, can you bring up that slide? Just how they're standing in his room. She's standing on the side of masked because she's hiding something, and he's standing on the side of what just looks to be kind of warriors and like ninjas and stuff like that. So which could simply just be that he's, open and reflective and a bit of a fighter at times, right? I just love what they're doing with that imagery. And as we learn eventually when he's hallucinating, and it's kind of like you wonder, like, how much is he hallucinating? Because at some point he starts to see pencil shavings in the snow, and it leads to this moment that apparently we get this reveal that his father actually attended the art show, Corey. And because he chose not to be there when it started, he missed the opportunity to see his dad one last time. And it's a form of guilt he holds on his father because his father was the one that told him to go for it, which you're starting to get that the difference between Kentaro and Kate, right? Like Kentaro and Kate have a very different outlook on their father. She from the get-go was kind of like, he was never there, and he just always disappeared on me. It's because he was with you guys, and kind of holds that anger towards him, rather than he always had admiration and love for his dad, wanting to make him proud. It was very important to him. And we're starting to see why, the difference in their relationship. And I did, once again, it's in play off the words of the episode, parallels and interiors, the parallels that make us similar and equal, and others of the interior of what we truly are inside. So some deep stuff going on in this episode that if you're not really paying attention, if you're just there waiting for the Titans, you're going to miss some of the hints that are going on.
I almost wondered if kind of that, parallel to that, where like, they're having a good time, him and May, Kintaro, and then right at the end, you see him upset in front of his, with his father, Mm-hmm. So to me, it almost maybe, forecasted the downfall of their relationship, that he feels like he failed his father, or he feels like he, messed up, by not going to that event, that is what's going to eventually pull May and Kintaro away from each other. That's trying to redemption for his father,
Yeah. And like I said, we're both getting those different reactions to how people are, how Kintaro's dealing with their missing father and learning of his secret family. Kate was very standoffish and, just the cold shoulder and angry by the situation, to the point where she was like, I don't care if we find him. Until she got to the tent, she broke down, because the truth is she did want to find her dad. And now we're seeing a bit of the opposite with Kintaro, is that while he's happy that they're starting to feel the connection and seeing that their father's still out there, I think he has questions that he wants to ask, to understand why his father did the things that he has done. And you're just starting to see the parallels in the interiors of each other, which is cool. Gianmarco says the imagery of parallels is insane. The channel Screen Crush explains it superbly and in deep. Oh, I'll have to check that out. I have not seen their episode breakdown yet, but I'm sure just based off things I've seen from them before, they really have a great research team to help them out with all that. So yeah, I bet that's a good episode. I'll have to check that one out. Thanks for the suggestion, Gianmarco. I appreciate it, bro. Corey, what else is everyone saying about kind of those ideas? Is there any comments that kind of like really popped out to you about the discussion so far?
A lot of people are saying interesting point. Yeah, it's been an interesting chat so far today, buddy. It's cool. Let's see here. This one was also interesting. I thought when I asked about the Frostmark, being able to change the surrounding area. TJ also confirmed. He said, not to my knowledge, Ghidorah was a weather system.
Yeah, but, he was basically able to like create like hurricane for weather. Basically, is so he was really the only one that could change the surrounding and in the idea that it would manipulate what people saw. But see, he didn't really manipulate the way people saw it. So clearly. There must be a Titan out there that we haven't seen that must have that ability that Shaw must be referring to, or he's lying about it because the kids don't know anything about Titans. He's the expert, which we've really kind of learned he was more of just the military gun. He was the chauffeur essentially. They told him what he needed to know. Or what did they call him, Corey? The military boys. In episode 3.
Gun-toting Neanderthals.
Yeah, gun-toting Neanderthals. Yeah. So he could very well be making shit up to hide his true intentions, for sure. Corey, can you pull up the slide again? We learn as this is all going down, Monarch is talking about through their panels and all their different research analysis, basically what's going on in Alaska. And they're trying to decide, okay, now that we've kind of in this post G-Day world, how do we handle this situation? We've never had to contact the government before and be like, hey, we're starting to see readings that are matching what it was during G-Day and before that. Well, you kind of also wonder, why are they seeing pulsars? Why are they seeing energy that is similar to a black hole, through Earth? And it happened right before G-Day. Like, what did we see that made that possible? And the truth is, it's King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong that have kind of hinted to us, exactly what they're seeing. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Corey, go into the next slide, please. So we get this really interesting moment with Shaw that I think we should talk about, right? Like when he was, hey, like we have all this information, right? And do you want to find your dad or do you want to save her life? Corey, what's your opinions on that? Like, I know we kind of briefly touched on it, but the fact that Shaw was willing to give up May's life to find information. And she even says to, when, you know, May is kind of accepting death at this point, she believes she's going to die due to hypothermia. And she says to Kate, you're going to have to leave me. And then she says, and given the chance, you're going to have to leave him too. I get the sense it's because she does not trust him because he knows he's up to something. Even when he was like, here, give me your bag, I'll carry it. And she was very protective over it. You know, saying like, no, I got it. Now, she's a secretive person already, but I think she's on to Shaw that he's after something. Thoughts?
Yeah, man, that's a good point. And it's interesting too, because you know, in reality, you know, she just really just met, you know, these three people have only just met each other recently. So their time with each other is a day, couple of days, you know, it's not a long period of time. So there's a lot of, you know, mistrust between the, like all of them, you would think, but it was interesting when the two started, Kate and May, you know, started to kind of bond with each other, and Shaw ended up being the one that was kind of being removed as part of the group, you know, with his comments and everything like that. There's something going on here.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, he is resourceful, right? Like he does serve the purpose in terms of how to, I mean, there was at one point we wondered if Shaw was like, you know, starting to convert over towards Bill Randus and his wife's side of, you know, needing to protect the Titans so we can research them. But here, you know, he's clearly like, when he sees the Frostvarks sucking in all the thermal energy from the fire to keep May warm, he kind of gets the idea of like, okay, well, I know how to kill this thing. I know how to give us a fighting chance to take it out, and puts this plan together, which is, it's a crazy batshit plan, but it's one of the reasons why I love Shaw, right? He's just a badass and Kurt Russell is just playing this character so great, I think, just because he's given us a little bit of that man of action, you know, the driving force, the man versus nature kind of theme to it, rather than the kids are just not oblivious, but like, you know, if they were out and about in the middle of Alaska by themselves, they probably wouldn't make it. You know, he's the one that's going to keep the group in a certain area of safety. You know, there's always going to be a little bit of that feeling of comfort around, just because he is that man of action that knows what to do when something goes horribly wrong at that time. But Marco says, did Kentaro flashback meeting May before G-Day?
Yeah, that was before G-Day.
I think it was before G-Day, technically. Yeah, it must have been. Alive. Yeah, not only was his dad still alive, but there was no thoughts about the Titans or any fear of that, or no signs around the city that would have showed, you know, the Titan preparedness plan. That's our favorite sponsors. May is definitely catching on to Shaw. I agree, Urkel. TJ says Shaw still thinks he's on a mission, and May thinks the same too. Okay, so you're thinking maybe Shaw still has some unsettled, unfinished missions and business to go through, and so he's kind of they're realizing that about him, is that he's trying to finish something.
I love what Red Hooded Outlaw says here.
Both characters are similar, so she is able to recognize. Yeah, they're both very untrusting people, right? So they both have different motives, right, about what they're after. And so she is able to kind of recognize that these girls, Kate and Kentaro are clearly just trying to find their dad. So they're able to see only the innocence of that, because their mission is kind of very innocent, right? Just trying to find their dad for answers. And then you have May and Shaw, who have something else going on. There's something else they're running from, and clearly Shaw knows things that the kids don't, that he hasn't quite led them on to either. So there's something going on, but I love when they put this plan into place. But we learned that at this time, Corey, if you go to our next slide, please. For some reason that didn't take the way I thought. Corey, can you hit the next one? Maybe it fixed on the next one. There you go. We'll just start it from there. But we learned that Hiroshi was at this outpost. So the very thing that Kentaro did believe he saw when he was on the plane was there. He wasn't crazy after all, but he also sees that there's pencil shavings at this outpost, and someone fixed the radio, which, Corey, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. But when I noticed that the radio was fixed and it was still working in that immense cold, there's no way, just through how cold it was in Alaska and just the amount of snow and the fact that the pencil shavings were still there on top of the table and not blown away after all this time, it must have been fairly recent that Hiroshi left.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of why they found, he found help, so quickly after that. So, yeah, that was a recent find by them. Yeah, like Joker's Wild said, they just missed him. So,
yeah, I agree that I think they did just miss him, and it makes me wonder if, because we did think that possibly it was May's sister that she was talking to on the phone, but she throws the phone away, which to me, like, that, how is that a big reveal? Like, why would that have to be so secretive when she was willing to tell Kate? Now, granted, May was dying. She believed she was going to die, and she wanted someone to tell her sister, but she hadn't even told Kentaro really about her sister. And that could just be because she's a very secretive person. But I wonder if she truly was. I don't think she was on the phone with her sister. I think she was on the phone with someone, and it could have very well been Hiroshi, or someone else, someone who knows where Hiroshi is at, because he, like Corey said, he clearly was just there. I don't mean maybe minutes before, but at least a day, maybe two at that outpost, because it just doesn't make logical sense that communicator, that radio, would still be working for a week in a cold environment. That really, that door, I mean, there's snow everywhere, it would have gotten destroyed in some way. The cold and equipment, especially extreme cold, is not always the greatest for that. So, and it did look like TJ says the pencil shavings were still fresh. So yeah, there's something going on. But because of all that, Monarch having the readings in Alaska, they were able, and also getting the phone call from Kentaro, there was a plane that was able to get there in time as Shaw and Kate and May were getting attacked by the Frostvark. And during that, May had to protect herself because the Frostvark almost got her, and the laptop was basically frozen and destroyed. During that, when they are picked up by the plane, and here's where I say Lee Shaw reacted in an interesting way. He finally sees what the light was coming from, Corey, and it's a hole in the ground, which we can only imagine it's probably a portal, a tunnel to Hollow Earth, like we saw in Godzilla versus Kong in Godzilla King of the Monsters. We know Godzilla uses these different Hollow Earth tunnels to zip around to get to places much, much quicker, which makes me wonder, based off how Shaw reacts, it looks like to me, Corey, that he saw that. He's seen that before, that he knew what that was.
Looking at the picture in the bottom left corner there, you could tell, man, he's like just his like his eyes, his mouth's not completely open, like he's in shock. He's just like, oh, it was like, oh, kind of like disgust that he was like so close almost, you know, like one of those vibes and everything like that. It was yeah, I think this is, like you said, Trey, what's going to introduce us to Operation Hourglass.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all coming down to, right? And once again, the tipping hat that I think Shaw is on a separate mission here is finally, you know, May is kind of dazed, confused. You know, she's starting to wake up, but she's healing. But finally, Shaw is able to grab her bag without her fighting or keeping it away from him and try to see if he has access to the laptop, and he's pissed off that it's destroyed. Now, yes, all things considering, it was their only avenue really to find where Hiroshi was.
Man, see, I kind of disagree with that though, you know?
Okay.
Like, obviously clearly Hiroshi's alive, right?
Yes.
He's alive. Those pencil shavings were fresh. And in some ways, if you were his kid, you know, if you were his kids, would you still want to find Hiroshi if you see that he's had a double life, 2 families, and he's just playing like he's dead the entire time as well? I could see how some of the characters, after, you know, seeing this, that he left us, not that he died, he left us. This is what I'm coming to terms with, you know.
Yeah, well,
that, he doesn't really care about us and what you know what's happened to us after all this.
It tells me whatever he has, whatever information he found that Monarch is after, or at least certain people in Monarch are after it. Maybe Shaw is after it as well. He thinks is important enough information that those people are willing to kill for it, which means his option was to kind of remove himself off the board, right? To make them believe he's dead. But if one of them slips, because at the end we learn Tim, our Monarch agent, who we've started wondering if maybe he was the son of Lee Shaw, because they do kind of look similar. And the agent next to Tim was the one that said if there's anyone that could find Lee Shaw, it's Tim, which made us wonder, well, why him? Why is Tim the only one that's the Lee Shaw expert? Is it because he's the son? Though his introduction to Lee Shaw saying, Colonel Shaw, been looking forward to meeting you, would tell us that they're probably not father and son, or they're playing an act, you know, trying to not tip their hat just yet. I mean, we could be reading too much into it, but I got the sense from that first interaction that maybe the theory that some people have said that Tim and Lee Shaw are father and son may not be the way it is. And that I was starting to lean that way, that maybe that theory was not quite accurate.
But on the flip side too, you have to remember that just like oh gosh, I forgot his name, Doho. Duho, yeah. Just like how he had a friend there, he started Monarch, so he could have a lot of friends in different places that you know, are kind of under his sleeve type thing, like a magician, you know. So like I still think there's a possibility there, Trey, that they're, you know, playing it off like, oh, I'm trying to get him, but really it's going to help him out at the end.
But now, you know, of course, their whole thing was to avoid Monarch, avoid being captured, but they're in it now. Like, they're clearly, this next episode, they're going to be interrogated, they're going to be asked questions. So what happens if they let on that Hiroshi is still alive? Maybe they already know Hiroshi is still alive and that they were just searching for Bill Randa's files, and hopefully they're able to pull some of that information from the laptop, but it's not looking good. Corey, what's your predictions for episode 5?
Man, Oh gosh, what was episode 5 called?
Episode 5 is coming out this next Friday, and they're calling it The Way Out. There you go.
Here it is, The Way Out. You know, one of the things that obviously the main game's back together again. You know, it said as we read last Thursday. This past Thursday, Kate's painful memories of G Days come flooding back as she treks through the ruins of San Francisco with Kentaro and May. So clearly, they dropped them off again, and they're back. I think we're going to see some interrogation with Shaw, but we're also going to be kind of going back and forth with them. One thing that I thought was interesting too is Red Hood Outlaw said they released a clip of it. Trey, have you seen the clip yet?
I have. Yeah, I have seen it. See, Nine Lives even said it. It's Kate. We learned that Kate is a teacher. And that the kids on that bus were probably her students. So which makes that moment even heavier, you know, of why it would have really changed her in a way, because she had emotional connection with those kids and felt a certain level of, you know, protection, you know, over them, a responsibility. It'll be interesting. I think this is going to be this next episode, because this is the midway point, right? They gotta have something that really pushes us through to the second half of it. And I get the sense we'll definitely learn a little more about Lee Shaw. I don't think we're going to get Operation Hourglass yet. I think they're saving that.
It's a big episode though, Trey, number 5.
It is a big episode. I just get the feeling that they're going to hold on to this one.
I think they may hint. I think they have to start hinting, right? Don't you think?
I think they'll hint. I think Tim will give us information about Shaw that may have us look at him in a bit of a different light. We'll probably get a little more information about some of the things he knows, and we'll probably get more hints about why they want Bill Randa's files so bad. I don't know. Maybe they'll even give us a better hint about his age and why he doesn't look like he should be 90.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You could say it's casting. They just thought it'd be really cool to have father and son, why not have a younger version? And you happen to have these great actors that are father and son and just utilize them that way. But you can only suspend disbelief so far, and having Kurt Russell be a 90-year-old man doing the things that he's doing, no one's gonna believe that unless if there's some type of hints or story going on that the radiation from the Titans or whatever it is, this fountain of youth thing, or the Titan that has the ability to rejuvenate, which we've seen Titans have that ability. They not so much with humans but with nature, right? Why is it so hard to believe that maybe there would be something to the effect of that a Titan could heal or regenerate cells of a human, if they have good positive radiation, I guess you could say. It's a bit of an interesting idea, which just check out our video on that explaining Shaw's age. We break it down a little further. Marco says, I think they will encounter surviving Muto hatchlings when they go back to San Francisco in the next episode. Oh, the Jinshin Mushi. That's possible. I feel like, though, I mean, it's certainly possible that Monarch could have missed a few, and that the soldier in 2014, I'm totally spacing his name right now, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I think plays him. It explains, I mean, it would kind of hurt the fact that maybe he didn't get them all, but it's certainly possible that there's so many that how could have gotten them all. I just would have expected Monarch to maybe kept in closer eye to that. So we do know in some of the Godzilla comics that there are other Jinshin Mushi Mutos out there, and including a Muto Prime that destroyed Godzilla's dorsal fins, and that's why they grew into the shape that they did in King of the Monsters, a little more classic looking. So I don't know. That's an interesting thought, though. I dig it, Marco. That's cool. Ford Brody, thank you. Gianmarco, see, I'm horrible with names. You should be impressed that I'm getting all these characters from this show so far. My boy Orc and Beans, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. I know you're not feeling well. Guys, you know what to do. Orc and Beans, one great member, great member on our panel. Please go like and subscribe to his Twitch account. He also has a YouTube channel, but he does all of his content on Twitch. Great gaming channel. He's been rocking it over with Modern Warfare lately. Just absolutely enjoy him. And he'll be with us in Godzilla -1. He literally texted me right after he saw it and was like, oh my God, dude. It's just, I love this Godzilla community that we're growing, man. It's absolutely amazing. TJ says, I just watched a video about the series on YouTube called Legacy. It's interesting. Just watched a video about the series on YouTube called Legacy. There's a YouTube series called Legacy. Is it like Monarch related? Is it like Legendary Monsterverse Godzilla?
Yeah, that's
let us know. I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely again in an interesting show. I don't think it was my favorite episode, Corey. But I don't think it was bad either. I think it was just giving us a little more in depth about our characters, what's motivating them. It's hinting at some things that I think are going to be big reveals later on, but I don't think it was the best episode of the series so far. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man, it was an interesting episode. It was showed some things that kind of threw us for a spin with Shaw and everything like that. I was a little bummed that we didn't see the Legacy cast much. We didn't see the Legacy cast at all. So that was a little bit of a bummer to me. They've been kind of one of my favorite parts for sure of this show so far. But overall, it was a really good show. I loved how they did the flashbacks between Kentaro and May. Understanding their relationship better, and everything. It was an enjoyable episode. So I definitely not my favorite. My favorite one was still the third one. So the previous episode, I enjoyed this quite a bit, Trey.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that. Curious to hear what Corey. If you had to score it, what would you score it though?
You ready for the rating?
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
Okay. I'm probably going to be. Oh, gosh, that's a tough one, Trey. I've been going back and forth because the episode 3 I gave it a 9.9, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. All the other episodes so far, I've given it a 9 or above. I think this one just falls just out of a 9 for me. Okay. I'm going to say probably. I'm thinking like. I'm going to give it an 8.4.
8.4. Okay.
Yep.
So a bit of a drastic drop, and I was thinking about that too. Like so many people are going to be like, "Holy cow!" Like we dropped off like quite a bit. Like so far, the show's been really high ratings, and I think it was just because that last episode was so strong that it was like that episode could do no wrong, other than a few continuity errors.
That's the trouble, right? You're exactly right. It's you had such an amazing episode that like if this was the third episode, would it have been that far back? But that was such an amazing episode in episode 3. Man, you got the Operation Lucky Dragon.
Yeah, that was a very cool moment. Corey, I think. I see a lot of people talking about the Frostvark. Yeah, the Frostvark, man, was just so easily cool, one of the coolest Titans. I did really love that design. The kind of the character growth and revelations that we got with them. And to me, where I struggled with this episode, it did feel vastly different from the tone of the other episodes. So to me, that kind of changed how I felt about it a little bit, thinking like, oh, this ain't quite as good as the other ones, because it feels like someone decided, hey, let's really shake it up this episode, give us something fresh, something new. But in doing so, they used a typical storytelling tool that I was kind of like, I've seen this before. Like, we always do this where characters go through a hallucination and it shows something about their past. So to me, it was like, while they were trying to shake it up and make it feel different for the show, it was a common storytelling thing for series, especially. That was kind of like Corey, we even saw it in Halo, right? Like the Halo series. Just so many people, Walking Dead is using it. I mean, everyone uses this type of storytelling that, oh, hey, we're in a hallucination, let's go back to their past and pull something out to explain why they are the way they are. So I think, for that simple fact that it wasn't really an original idea, it felt different to the point where I didn't quite like the difference. I did miss the legacy cast. I'm not saying they need to be there every episode, but their story was missed this round. And I'm not convinced the revelations that we got, the reveals and the character journey that we got for the past storytelling of our Kentaro and May, I don't know if that was quite it didn't do anything for me. There was like nothing there that really went like, oh, that is interesting about them, or like, I wonder where this is gonna go then, other than May is still secretive. She was secretive then, she is secretive now. We know that she has a sister out there that she's, for some reason, not really telling where she's at and kind of telling her lies about what she's up to. So she's secretive towards her sister. The only thing that really made this show interesting, this particular episode, was the Frostvark and Lee Shaw. So Lee Shaw is hinting at something, and I'm starting to wonder if he's going to be the betrayal, the antagonist, that comes out of nowhere. We think he's on our side until somewhere towards the end that he's actually on a mission himself to get something. So I'm gonna give it like 8.3 was what I was thinking. 8.2. I think it easily could be in the 7s for me. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt because I think they're leading to something with Shaw. I
just can't believe he's the antagonist, man.
Maybe.
I guess they could, like, I think he's going to be, if he is, he's going to be one of those, he's switched to the original, his friend's side of protecting the Monarchs and, potentially Operation Hourglass as well. Dang, man. So we were close together, 8.3, 8.4 here. Let's take a look at the chat, see what they're saying. Carrie Kelly given 8.7. 8.6 from Kaiju Crazy Craig Rowland. An 8.3 for me, says Wayne Enterprises. King Donkey Kong says 8.1. Thought the only good part was the Frostvark. Absolutely. I'd give it a 7.10, says Marco Bucar, but he changed his score in a little bit. Oracle's Clock Tower says 8.6. The Frostvark was fantastic.
Who changed their score?
Marco Bucar.
Marco Bucar. Okay.
8.3 from Red Hooded Outlaw. TJ says it lowers my average to 8.4 now because he was up in the 9s originally. Marco said, you're right. I'd give it an 8.10. The Frostvark was incredible. I completely agree with the Frostvark. It was super awesome. He said, I was surprised that there was no flashback. And I think May was hard to root for. Absolutely. Interesting, okay. Trey. I am a 7.9. It says 9 Lives in Hell here. 8.2 from Beyond the Night. A 7.4 from The Butler.
Okay.
Pork and Beans says 8.4. He says, I'll be honest, watching -1 and then watching this hurts its score.
You know what? That's absolutely fair, Orca, because -1 is just going to be a tough movie. I mean, even the new, and this is not throwing any shade at Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, but Godzilla -1 is going to be a tough film to beat in general. I would throw it up against movies I've seen this year, that were really good,
Right. We have a 7.7 from the Batman Who Laughs. Gianmarco gave it a 7.1. I love Batwoman's comment here. She says 9.1. I love May. Totally crushing on her hardcore. 8.3.
It's Kiersey Clemens. We can't blame you.
Right? Exactly. I can't. 8.3 out of 10 from Jokers. Wow. 8.5. Mistress of Mayhem. 8.7 from hashtag Restore the Snyderverse guy.
Okay.
And TJ's dropping the hourglass, buddy. Dean Classified says 8.6 is what I would give it.
8.6. All right, so
we're averaging mid-8s right now for this episode.
Yeah, we had a few people give it a low score. I shouldn't say a low score, but a lower score. In the 7s, and I think that's fair. Like, I could totally see people being like, "This episode did nothing for the show," and Corey, as I always say, Corey and I. At the end of a season, we tend to adjust our scores because now we know how this episode fits. This is an episode that I think could have probably the most drastic difference. It's either going to go really low or really high, because it may be an important piece to it all, to the 10 episode season. I'm not, I don't want to be so drastic because it's like one of those things that I felt like if I threw it in the 7s, people were going to be like, well, you hated the episode then. Like, when 7 is a good score, anything above 6 really is a good score. But like, for me, it was just clearly a different way of storytelling that didn't quite held up the way the other episodes did. But there was elements that were really cool, Marco says, I'm pretty confident when I see it tomorrow that it will be one of the best monster movies in general, -1. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts about it, Marco. I think you're absolutely going to love it, dude. Yeah, it was good. TJ says, I'm crushing on Kate. Yeah, hey. No one's saying they're crushing on Kurt Russell. Corey, he keeps getting younger and younger every time we see him.
Right?
Well, cool.
I'm crushing on Kiko.
Kiko?
Kentaro,
Dr. Kiko?
No, not her. What's Kentaro's mom's name? Yeah.
I don't recall. She's a sweet lady, Corey. Leave her alone.
Is it Miko? Miko?
I don't know. I think Kiko is Kiko Randa, right? She becomes Kiko Randa.
Yes.
But yeah, man, so far it's still a solid show, but stick with us on it. We're going to continue to break these down and hopefully bigger reveals, more theories as they come along. But I think Shaw is up to something. Emiko, yeah. That's right, Emiko. I remember it was a name when I first heard it. I was like, oh my God, Emiko is like the same name they used for one of the main characters in the original Gojira 1954 film. So I was like, all right. Marco's asking, did you see the hog monster? You're talking about, I think it was from a TV spot, right? I wasn't sure if that was a leak or if that was an actual like release. Sometimes I try to be careful of like what's leaked or not, but yes, I did see a picture of it. I love it, especially if they tie it with like Greek mythology, like the giant, I'm totally spacing the in Greek mythology, the boar that Hercules kills, has to kill.
That would be super sweet
to redeem himself. It'd be cool if they kind of tie, because that was the idea of the Monarch symbol, right? Other than TJ brought up that the hourglass, if you flip it, it looks like the Monarch symbol, but the original design of the Monarch logo, at least how Gareth Edwards explained it, was that it was the conversion of myth and science. So myth becoming reality in a way. And so if they continue that trend with it, yes, I would dig if it was something like that. Like it's the Greek myth coming alive, and they could really have fun with that. They've already kind of done that with Kong Skull Island. This Skull Island show on Netflix where they have the Kraken. At least I think that's what they're calling it. I think they're calling it the Kraken. So yeah. It's cool. I dig it. Oh man, yeah, that would be sick. Oh yeah, see, Marco knows what's up. He knows. Corey, I'm gonna end our poll real quick so we can see what people said about the episode. And I know we kind of gave it a score.
And Trey, the GXK poster dropped.
If that's all it is, if they've been hyping us up just for a poster, I will lose it. Corey, actually, go if you could, Corey. I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to you, and I'll
if you can find it. I'll read the results, Trey.
Thank you.
Thoughts on episode 4 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. 57%.
Some people said the panel was supposed to be like 1 hour long today for like Godzilla XCon. Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
They said 50% says it was good. Meh, 23%. Best episode yet is 11%, and worst episode this season so far, 7%.
Okay.
Which in reality, you know, it's a meh episode. It was good, but it is technically kind of the worst episode thus far for rating it where we are. So
okay. Corey, I'm going to show you this. This is nuts.
Is this Godzilla XCon?
Yeah, this is Godzilla XCon. I'm going to see. Let's share my screen. Okay. Twitter. Look at this. Tell me when you can see it.
Whoa.
You see that?
Whoa.
So I think I don't think the movie actually, maybe it takes place in Brazil. I don't know. But CCXP, I'm assuming they're just doing this for the fun of it. Because I think that's in Brazil, right? That famous saint statue.
It's Christ of Redeemer. Yes.
Yeah. But what I noticed, dude, look at. Do you see Kong? Can I zoom up? I'm gonna try to see if I can zoom up on this. No, I can't. Maybe I don't know. Well, it won't let me zoom on Twitter. But do you see his arm?
Dude, it looks it looks like it has.
Is it mechanical?
Mechanical for sure.
Are they doing like a Mecha Kong thing, like trying to give him upgrades? That's nuts. Rise together or fall alone.
Do you think they kind of fight in the beginning again, and then he loses his arm, and then?
I think they're going to team up. Obviously, because Godzilla, Adam Wingard keeps calling it Godzilla Kong. So I get the feeling that those two are going to have to join together, kind of like what they did with the Mecha Godzilla. That is interesting.
And they purposefully, oh shit, Trey.
What?
He has the Thanos.
He's the Infinity Gauntlet. He's about to.
Gauntlet, yeah.
And that's when Godzilla's going to say at the end, "I am Godzilla." You know. Oh God, that would be ridiculous if they did something like that. But I'm like so puzzled by that. Why does he have a mechanical arm? I'm like wondering, is it a glove or did he actually lose his arm? Oh, dude, what if it was because there was a Corey? I'll show you real quick. Here is. I'm guessing I'm still showing on Twitter real quick. Hey, KDM. If you guys don't follow KDM Monsters, you should, because he posts some great stuff.
So kind of catching up with the chat, Trey, while you're doing that. He says, "Oh yes, my theory, myth, the Earth is flat, science in the MONSTERVERSE, the Hollow Earth. I think the trailer comes out at 5:30. Josh Herrera is in the chat. He says, "Hey fam, show some love and smash that like. I still need to watch episode 4 since Mom was visiting all weekend. I'll watch soon. Hopefully you're doing well, brother."
Okay.
The two triangles converge to create an hourglass. That poster is fire. Fall Alone, Rio de Janeiro, Robotic, Scar Chop Up. I think Brazil will be the main destruction, and most of the movie in Hollow Earth. People are freaking out, Trey. Whoa. They did shoot on a beach in Australia that was actually supposed to be Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
Oracle's Clock Tower says that's insane. Red Hood Law says dope, Trey. What do you got for me, buddy? Ready to make me a shirt?
Yep, I'm ready for you to share it when you are.
Ooh.
Okay. So IGN posted this picture yesterday of Kong. It's not leaked. IGN posted it for Warner Brothers and Legendary. And we see here, Kong is fine. His arm is okay. Right? Other than he's looking older, right? He's looking more brutal, more seasoned. I'm sure when he got to Hollow Earth and he's kind of become the king of Hollow Earth, that he's probably throwing down a lot trying to keep the place in order. But I'm wondering, because of that poster picture, if something doesn't happen to this axe, because it's a Godzilla dorsal fin. So what if it can hold on to that atomic radiation that Godzilla has, right? What if it like exploded at such an intense like blast, whatever happens to it, that Kong loses his arm? That's what I'm thinking.
Damn, Trey.
I don't know, man. I'm so curious about that poster now. Here's the other picture. This is of the cast. We see that our beloved characters are back, except for this guy's new. I'm not sure who or maybe he's supposed to be the same guy and they just recasted him. I think it's someone completely different. But we do get Gia back. But this picture of Godzilla stuck in the ice, and it looks like he's drawing energy from it. I was partly wondering if maybe he got frozen from Shimu, this new tie-in that we heard about from the Call of Duty Warzone crossover that people believe is going to show up at some point. But they believe this is what's gonna. And guys, like I said, none of this are spoilers because Legendary has released this themselves. But we see here Godzilla's getting a bit of an upgrade. And he's going to get some red dorsal fins.
Wow.
It looks fire. I mean, it literally is fire. But no, I dig it, dude. It looks good. One thing I kind of like about it, Corey, is like how it looks like it's protruding from his skin now. Before it was just kind of like, it's just typical spikes. But it looks like it's actually like bursting out of his back.
Yeah. That's insane, dude.
Like it's melted.
I'm looking at my face is so close to the kids. I'm just staring at the screen there. Holy cow, dude!
Dope. Man, it's looking good. Nonetheless, I'm completely ecstatic for Godzilla X Kong. Oh, hey, look at even the Rotten Tomato score. See, yeah, KDM Monsters, man. Go follow him. Here's the poster for Kong. Roar Power. I posted us on Instagram as well, but this is a t-shirt that's going to be for Kong, Team Kong people. Man, that's cool. I dig it. And we heard apparently maybe Doug will make an appearance. The Titanus Doug. But cool, dude. I'm excited. Rise together or fall alone, meaning Godzilla and Kong, they're going to have to, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they handle this because I see they're doing this team up and I was like, we kind of already got that, in Godzilla versus Kong. So that's nothing new. We know that they can put aside their differences and come together to take on the bigger evil. But whatever this Scar King is, man, this Oranga Kong, or I've heard some people call him Emperor Kong. He's looking like a formidable force that's gonna. I get the sense, Corey, that this Kong may have he may be drawing from the same energy that Godzilla does. I don't think he's gonna have like atomic breath, but they might do like the Lightning Kong, like from the playing off of the Godzilla, the original King Kong versus Godzilla. But I also think he has like mind control. That like he may we humans may even be able to hear him speak through telepathy, telepathically. I don't know. It's looking good though. I can't wait for the trailer. When the trailer comes out, you guarantee Corey and I will do a reaction and release it as soon as possible. So if you haven't already, smash that like, share this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss more Godzilla content because we going Godzilla crazy over here, and I love it. You guys have been Absolutely amazing. Corey, what's the chat saying about all the new Godzilla versus Kong?
Man,
sorry, Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire.
Yeah, man, they're just going nuts, bro. Whoa, that's insane, dope. I dig it. I think he gets injured in enhancements. Holy shit, bro! Whoa, I love it.
I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
People are digging it. I think Starkeen will become a really iconic kaiju villain. Trailer coming soon.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's some Godzilla fans out there and Toho fans who really want to see more Toho monsters. And I'm right there with you. I would love to see Mothra return. I do want a Mothra spin-off film if possible, because Mothra had her own films in Toho, and I think people really loved Mothra and King of the Monsters. But I would love to see our characters also separate, eventually. Godzilla gets his own film, Kong gets his own film, and build upon their stories a little bit. I mean, at this point, the way they're fleshing out the MONSTERVERSE, they really could do a destroy all monsters film, team up film that just has Titan action, just a complete insane film. And I think people would go see it. So I think if they wanted to take their time, flesh it out, build out the universe a little bit, and really explode with something like Destroy All Monsters, that would be dope. I'd be all about that. But nonetheless, it's a good time to be a Godzilla fan right now. Windu, our dude, it's so good to see you. I hope you're doing well, man. Have you come out with any new music lately, Windu? Let us know. I don't know if I've seen anything recent. At least I don't know if I've gotten a notification for it if you have. But Gianmarco says IGN has a very interesting Adam Wingard interview. I'll have to watch that. We'll have to check that out. See what he says. But guys, I just want to say, nope, not yet. Okay. Get on it, buddy. I'm waiting for the next one. I'm sure. I totally understand. Me too, bud. But guys, just want to say once again, thank you so much. Welcome to the new group, Marco. It's really wonderful seeing you. I think I also saw Dean Classified.
Yeah, he's been watching us for a little bit.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
I've been seeing him in the video comments and everything like that.
Okay, very cool. Well, Dean, welcome as well. I think I saw you earlier. But guys, it's been an absolute blast. Is the series worth a watch? Windu, I think so. I think so far, I mean, we're only 4 episodes in. Halfway is going to be the very next episode. And I think it's a good quality show so far. We'll see where they go with it. I hope it does kind of hint or lead into either King of the Monsters or give us something that they'll use for Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire. And I don't mean it, I know Marvel kind of did that with you have to go see Miss Marvel, to understand the Marvels, or anything like that. I get some people don't like that, but just do a little something for the fans that it doesn't have to be a huge portion of the story, but it could be something that be, I know what you did. I got it. Trailer dropped. Gianmarco says trailer dropped. Did it really?
That's what I'm saying.
If it did, guys, we're going to end the show right now. And Corey and I will literally hop on another.
Because that's a Toho one, right, Trey? We're going to have to do some editing to not get copyrighted and stuff like that.
Yeah, I may have to do some. Well, no, it'll get copyrighted anyways, but it'll be easier to clip it. And let me see. Where is this? Did it actually release, or maybe they haven't released it on YouTube yet? Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. Oh shit, no, they actually did. Warner Brothers Picture. Corey, guys, Corey and I are going to record this right now. Be on the lookout for the video. Holy shit, insane news right here. Okay, Corey, let's exit out.
All right.
Oh, actually, Corey, do you want to do this? Let's make it a live thing.
Yeah, I think we make it a live stream. I think we create a new one and make a live, Trey.
Let's do it. Okay, guys, we'll be on. Be ready. We're going to get off and then we're going to jump right on and do it. So, Corey, thank you guys so much for watching. The Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire trailer just dropped, so we're gonna set up a new StreamYard thing, and we're gonna
make sure you check us out later this week on Thursday for episode 5, The Way Out Watch Party. Be there for that.
Can you tell we're excited? We're just like ready to get off. Like, let's go. You know? All right,
I
guys.
think we're gonna trade. Let's play the TPP, and then we'll get people.
Yes. A special message from our sponsors, the TPP. Please be safe out there, guys, and we'll see you in just a few moments.
All right,
Peace.
everybody. Have a good night.
And now a special message brought to you by the Titan Preparedness Plan.
With the recent spike in Titan sightings circulating on social media, proactive preparation for a Titan emergence event is crucial. A single towering force of nature has the potential to forever alter the lives of millions. It is our mission to help you prepare for that force. The Titan Preparedness Plan is your guide to staying safe in the face of monsters. These are the 3 steps you need to know. 1. Know before you go. Identify the location of your nearest Titan shelter and practice navigating a Titan evacuation route with your family on a weekly basis. 2. Run and take cover. In the case of a Titan emergence, calmly sprint to the nearest Titan shelter. If your designated shelter is inaccessible or at capacity, seek the basement or lowest floor of a nearby building. 3. Stay informed. Follow any further instruction from local authorities and stay informed using your mobile device, television, or radio. We can't stop a Titan emergence, but we can safeguard our lives. Join us in building a safer, more resilient community. We are here to protect you.